So you want to play something that's darker, edgier, gothier, bloodier? Well, do I have a game for you, and that is Vampire the Masquerade, designed by Kenneth Haidt from White Wolf. So what's Vampire the Masquerade all about? Well, basically you play a vampire. Obviously. You're a vampire that abides to a certain set of rules that is called, wait for it, the Masquerade. What? If you happen to break these rules in the Masquerade by, I don't know, telling a human that you're a vampire, or, doing some freaky vampire stuff in front of a human, guess what? You die. Again. Permanently. Like, dead. Just real human, like, dead. Deader. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands here. We're just gonna go with it. Hello, everybody. My name is Dice&Autism, and welcome to the first inaugural episode of a series that I like to call Table Talk. And today, as we discussed before, we're talking about the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade. Look at that cover. That's a beautiful cover. Mwah, I just kissed the book. Yeah. So, here's the thing about Vampire the Masquerade. It is a densely lore book. There is so much lore into it. So I'm going to do my best to break it down to you guys of what the lore is, how to create a character in this game, and how to have fun with it, okay? Alright, come on with me, we're nerds, we're gonna have some fun. So there are two major vampire factions in the world of Vampire the Masquerade. The Camarilla and the Anarchs. The Camarilla is basically a club of elite vampires who enforce the rules of the Masquerade. And the Anarchs say, fuck the rules, equality for all vampires. There's also like a third faction called the Sabbat, which is basically a vampire church that says, you know what, this whole rule of the Masquerade, fuck them. And fuck the humans, I'm gonna go eat all of them. That's basically them. Now, you may be asking, Dice, how do I make my own edgy vampire OC for this game? Well, dear watcher, do I have a method for you. Come on, let's do it. So first things first, you gotta pick your clan. That's right, your clan. These clans are basically your fantasy races and classes for your typical tabletop RPG. There's a total of 16 clans in Vampire the Masquerade, but we're just gonna go with the 9 basic ones in the core rulebook. And if you guys are interested, I can make another video talking about those clans. So, what are the basic 9 clans of Vampire the Masquerade? Well, first we have the Bruja, a clan that's all about sticking it to the man and about rebellion, baby! Yeah! Stick it to the man! Motherfucker! But the downside of being a Bruja is that you're very angry all the time, so, yeah, prepare to go Hulk smash on this bad boy. Next up is the Gangrel, who's all about embracing the inner beast, your hunger, and take on animalistic traits. But rely on this too much, and you will take on an animalistic form of your choosing. So just imagine yourself, like, getting all hungry all of a sudden, and you'd be turning yourself into a vampire bunny. Who's all cute. But yeah, you're gonna bite people. Because you're a bunny. After that, we have the Malkavians, which, context warning, we get a little bit serious here. The Malkavians is made up of clans of people who can hear voices of the future and see visions and all that stuff. And generally, they're depicted of having DID, schizophrenia, any sort of mental illness and all that stuff, and then portrayed very, very poorly. So if you're going to be playing Malkavian, please consider not falling into any of those traps, and okay. Alright? You good? We promise? Pinky promise. I'm gonna do a pinky promise with me and you, Chad. I believe in you. Don't break the pinky promise. Don't break the pinky promise! Moving on, we have my personal favorite, the Nosferatu. And, well, how does one explain the Nosferatu? Okay, well, you ever see that old silent film movie called Nosferatu? Well, basically you look like that, but uglier. But not to me. Come here, cutie. Mwah. The next one is Toreador, who's basically a theater kid grown up with one barely functioning brain cell left in their brain. And how do I know this? Well, guess what, sports fans? I am a theater kid grown up with one barely functioning brain cell. The thing about the Toreador is that they're obsessed with art. When I mean obsessed, I mean obsessed with art. If their whole thing of that, they get so absorbed into art and all that jazz. These bad boys will hyperfixate anything that is shiny or pretty, and they'll make that their whole entire personality for their entire life. Kind of like I do with TTRPGs. Next up is the Tremere, which basically means you're a wizard. But instead of using a wand for casting magic, you use blood. So it's kind of messy. And also very cool. Then we have the Venture, which is basically the clan full of rich white old men. Obsessed with power, wealth, influence, these guys only care about being in charge and wrecking shit. Kind of like the rich people of today's world. Capitalism sucks. Fun fact about the Ventrue, if they drink any blood from somebody that's about a class lower than and stuff, they vomit. And when I mean vomit, they vomit out blood. So that boy's gonna be a gusher. So take that as you will. Eat the rich. Woo! Finally, we have the Catifs and Thin Bloods. Catifs are vampires without clans, and Thin Bloods are vampires whose bloods are so thin that you still retain some of your human traits, like, you know, being able to go outside and meet the sun and all that jazz. Now that we got the clans all listed, let's go ahead and build a character. Now, you might take a look at the Vampire Masquerade character sheet and think, holy balls, my eyeballs on fire and how complicated this looks. Well, have no fear, I am here to break it down to you. Yo. So in the first section, we have the name of your character, the name of your chronicle, your group, and the name of your sire, the guy who turned you into a vampire. Next up is the concept section, which is basically the base of your vampire. This bad boy can fit so many cool and wonderful designs of a vampire. You can design anything with your vampire you want to be. Maybe they want to be a guardian protecting like lower middle classes. Maybe, you know, they're a guy who wants to own a nightclub and run shit. There's so many possibilities that you can do with this. It's a lot of fun, so make sure you have your base of what your vampire wants to be and stuff. Next up is the predator section, which is basically how you get your blood. You may get it from, you know, asking a person politely if they can drink their blood, because, you know, consent is sexy, or you get it off of them when they're like asleep or drunk or something, who knows? Or you can choose the vampire vegan route and, you know, drink squirrels like the Capri Suns. Oh, those poor squirrels. Next up is the attributes, which is separated into 3 sections: physical, social, and mental. These are your basic stats in any RPG, like your strength, your charisma, your dexterity, your constitution, all that jazz. Underneath attribute is skill, which is basically all the basic skills you get to do every single day as a vampire and a human, so yee. Now, some of you may be asking, what are these dots next to my attributes and my skills for? Well, my friend, those are your points. You see, Vampire the Masquerade uses a D10 system. You roll the amount of D10s depending on how many there are filled in your character sheet. If you roll a 7 through 10, you pass. Anything else, you fail. Next up is discipline, which is basically your powers as a vampire. It can range from like super strength, super speed, charming the pants off of people, or using some weird blood magic to go oogly boogly boo on somebody, and all that jazz. It's pretty nuts, I gotta say. Some of these skills do require you to roll what is called a hunger check. Basically, it is the measurement of how hungry you are. The longer it gets through the game, the longer you get hungrier, and sometimes it gets hard to control that power. So you roll to see if you pass the hunger check. If you pass it, you're good. You don't have to add anything else. But if you fail, well, guess what? You get a little bit hungrier and it becomes even harder to control your powers. What happens if you reach max hunger in one game session? Well, my friend, you go into a frenzy. And you don't want to go into a frenzy because that's when things get messed up. Oh boy. On the next page, we have touchstones and convictions. These things are what makes you still human. Even though you're a vampire, you are still somewhat a human inside. So, in the game of Vampire Masquerade, sometimes you're gonna be doing stuff that's like questions humanity, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy. And you have to have those convictions there with you to remind yourself that you are still a human underneath the guise of being a vampire. So, if you happen to like break those humanities and stuff, your convictions, all of your touchstones, you get what's called a stain on your humanity, and you don't want that. It's basically really, really bad. At the end of each session, your DM, or in this case, your storyteller, will be giving you EXP to spend on your characters' stats, abilities, spells, and all that jazz. And that's all there is in the character sheet. So, in the end, do I recommend Vampire the Masquerade? Yes, 100%. I recommend this game so fucking much. It is such a fantastic game. This game is really about focus on role playing and less on action. It's about diving into your character and what they will do in certain situations and all that jazz. I have run a campaign of Vampire the Masquerade, and it was so much fun seeing everybody playing these characters and seeing what they do and like what kind of dice rolls they have to determine their hungers, and what that hunger, that little voice in their head that says, hey, I'm a badass monster, I don't need to be doing this stupid humanity shit, and seeing them clutch on to what makes them still human is something that is fantastic. The only bad thing about this game is that the lore is pretty damn thick. You're gonna have to look through this bad boy and make sure you know the terminology of the game, what skills you gotta use and all that stuff, and sometimes that bleeds into like telling a story within like this character, you're reading this class, and you're just like, I just want to know the information of what I need, just give me that, instead of telling me this huge ass story about Billy the Vampire and seducing some person who's like, yeah, Billy, suck me dry! Why did I say that? Oh no. Oh no, why did I say that? No! Don't use that out of context. Please don't. No, no. No, no. There is a section in the book that shows all the terminology that you'll be needing to use for your vampire game. But I do recommend. I seriously do recommend this game. And yeah, that's all there is to it. I give this game 4 out of 5 blood dice. Now go out there and play a vampire, you bitch.
Hey everybody, thank you for watching to the end of the video. If you like what you saw, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell so you're notified of new videos coming out, and they'll always will be coming up on here. And yeah, what you guys think of the new show I'm gonna be having on here, you know? Because I always want to talk about like different TTRPGs, so I kind of figured like, hey, let's use this platform to talk about and review other TTRPGs out there, you know? So yeah, if you have a favorite TTRPG that you play a lot and you want me to check it out and review it, then please let me know, and I'll be glad to check it out and everything. So, I also want to give a special shout out to the people at Gravemire for sending me a reviewer's copy of this. This has been like a fun ass game, and goddamn do I want to play it now even more and everything. So yeah, so let's move on to our Patreons, alright? Patron shout outs to Luke Eccles, Douglas Kislook, Raven Garvin, Nix Durham, The Chill Sun, DJ M, Blue, Cass Bobble, Aaron, Zachary Lowry, Pyrus Nikos, Jackie Ann Blair, Caitlin Gullickson, Las Atten, Stephen Fawn, Adam Gollinger, Faye Flower, Bobby Joe Casto, Tabitha Elizabeth Allison Trammell, and Tanisha Kanita. And if you want to be like those cool people and get your name shout out at the end of these videos and all that stuff, then please become a member of my Patreon. We have some really cool stuff you want to check out and everything. Buy my merch if you want to become a cool ass bard with plus of $1 billion to your charisma and everything. And yeah, I will see you guys later with a new video, okay? Alright, have a good day guys. Peace.